May I have a big round of applause, please? Thank you, Excellencies. May I now invite Ambassador of India to ASEAN, His Excellency Mr. Jayant Khobra Gade, to deliver welcome remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Honorable Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, Dr. R.R. Singh, Excellency Dato Lim Jokhoi, Secretary General of ASEAN, Excellencies, Permanent Representatives of the ASEAN Member States to ASEAN, Excellencies, Deputy Secretary General of ASEAN, Joint Secretary, that is the Director General of Indo-Pacific Division in the Ministry of External Affairs, Ms. Gitika Srivastav, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, Madam Professor Sunaina Singh, Executive Director of ASEAN University Network, Dr. Koltis, rectors, deans, and representatives of participating universities of the Asean-India network of universities from ASEAN member states and India who have joined us via virtual mode, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. What a great honor for me to stand on the stage of Nusantara Hall of the ASEAN Secretariat and welcome all the dignitaries present here and participating virtually. Like any other thing in life, activities within the framework of Asean-India start with an idea, conceptualized and taken towards their implementation. The idea of Asean-India network of universities came from none other than Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi. Starting from Nalanda University, probably each one sitting here and participating via video links have contributed towards developing and refining the concept and designing and approving the project, leading to its eventual launch today, and hence your presence and participation in the event make the launch complete. As I mentioned about beginning of an activity with an idea, similarly for celebrating this year as ASEAN-India Friendship Year to mark the 30th anniversary of establishment of relations, we discussed many ideas, filtered them, conceptualized them, and it's such a great pleasure to see many of them being realized one after the other. We jointly launched the logo. We have had special ASEAN-India Foreign Ministers meeting. We had visit of parliamentary delegation under ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly, IPA, to India. The artist camp, music festival, seminars, workshops, they will happen. Launch of ASEAN-India network of universities is one of the 28 ideas on which we have been working. This is also coming to its realization today. From my mission's perspective, while we are involved practically in all the projects, it is a very rare occasion for us to be a part of the launch ceremony. We are really thrilled to have Honorable Dr. R.R. Singh visiting Jakarta exclusively for this specific purpose, and the wholehearted support given by the ASEAN Secretariat under the leadership of Honorable Secretary General, and that by the Committee of Permanent Representatives, and for turning the launch into a festive occasion. In any case, the month of August is month of festivities as India celebrated 75th anniversary of its independence, ASEAN 55th anniversary, and we continue today launch in that spirit. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I have now the pleasure to invite Professor Sunaina Singh, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, the nodal institution from India, for a presentation on ASEAN-India network of universities. Madam Vice Chancellor, the floor is yours.
Namaskar, good morning. Honorable Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, Higher Education of India, Dr. Singh, His Excellency, Honorable Secretary General ASEAN, Excellency, Representative of Singapore, Representative of Cambodia, Excellency, Representative of from India and ASEAN Division, our Joint Secretary, and the Joint Secretary IP Division. Very good morning to all of you. It's an honor and pleasure to be part of the launch of this event. You know, the AINU, as we call it, will provide a significant impetus to the initiative of the launch of this event, initially announced by Prime Minister of India and followed by Ministry of External Affairs, you know, with the help of AINU network, the ambassador and the staff of the Indian mission to ASEAN at Jakarta, as well as the Indo-Pacific division of MEA, have their connection and linkages have been crucial in shaping the initiative of Asean-India network of universities. The launch of AINU, particularly the faculty enrichment program, is taking place on the commemorative occasion of 30th anniversary of Asean-India dialogue relation, is yet another indication of growing cooperation between India and ASEAN member states, and is crucial as the nations progress towards realization of the 21st century as Asian century. The millennia-old civilizational and cultural linkages between Southeast Asia and India are being reaffirmed through diplomatic initiatives of over the last 3 decades. This also shows a commitment to further deepen the broad-based partnership to promote peace, stability, and prosperity in all the regions of ASEAN and India. I have a brief presentation on Nalanda just to give you an idea of the background of Nalanda University. If I can quickly run through so that it will give you an idea as a nodal institution what we have been doing and where we are today. Nalanda has been a renowned seat of knowledge for over 700 to 800 years until the 12th century, started in 4th century. And after nearly a millennia, it's being rejuvenated, rebuilt in its new avatar. The preamble, interestingly, envisions Nalanda University as an international institution with the Ministry of External Affairs. While we have over 46 central universities, which are national universities with Ministry of Higher Education, Nalanda University is the only institution, I must mention here, as international institution and with Ministry of External Affairs. The mandate, interestingly, is to promote the regional peace and cooperation through the knowledge route. The idea is to create a new generation of thought leaders and to enable capacity building of the member states. Amalgamation of Asian wisdom, knowledge, cultural linkages, along with the emerging knowledge ecosystem for a man-making education is the primary objective of Nalanda University. The leaders of member states of East Asia, we have about 18 members, 17 plus India, 18 members who approved, endorsed the proposal to re-establish Nalanda University after nearly a millennia in 2007. You know, 17 countries that came together, you have the list there as Australia, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Brunei, Darussalam, Cambodia, China, Indonesia, Laos, PDR, Mauritius, Myanmar, New Zealand, Portugal, Republic of South Korea, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Vietnam. It's a long list and a very impressive list of countries who have tied up with Nalanda, and we get students from almost 30 countries to come to Nalanda. What is the engagement with partnering countries? One, it is to rebuild knowledge society of future. Two, to create repositories of cultural and spiritual markers. Three, to engage with multilateral and regional institutions, academic centers and think tank. And four, building and strengthening the network of universities or institutions that partner with the partnering countries. Asean-India network of universities that we have envisioned as the knowledge ecosystem for 21st century that will forge linkages among the universities in India and ASEAN. And the purpose is to create new knowledges, research and innovation, and enlarge the scope of collaboration between ASEAN institutions and Indian premier institutions. Building a resource pool. Now, one of the major objective of ASEAN-India network of institutions is to build a resource pool to stimulate knowledge route aligned with shared aspirations of ASEAN and India. We have envisioned 3 phases of the development of ASEAN-India network of universities. The first one being faculty exchange, second doctoral student exchange, and the third is joint PhD supervision, which is co-tutel, joint research, collaborative cultural linkages, building repositories of knowledge and culture. We've started a center for cultural repositories of all the East Asian countries, and Nalanda is working in that center rigorously, and we have quite a few resource building ideas there. Now, NU as nodal institution of ASEAN-India network of university, particularly as Nalanda is seen as a global seat of learning. We have experiential and interdisciplinary learning with field immersion and projects. This is how we envision AINU also to move forward. Building bridges through integrative educational model. So we're creating new models by coming together. Focus on initiating joint degrees, co-tutel, as I said, and research clusters from institutions from ASEAN and Indian premier institutions. Exploring possibility of opening further NU centers to rebuild our and forge our linkages further. Some of the schools that we have at Nalanda, which offer multiple programs, right from short programs to diplomas to masters and global PhD, have in areas such as historical and cultural studies, ecology and environment. Just to give you a preview of courses, Buddhist studies, philosophy and comparative religion. We also have Hindu studies as masters. Languages and literature, which offers short programs in all the foreign languages, as well as world literature, masters. Management studies has sustainable development and management. This is a premier, perhaps one of its kind program, MBA. 90% of my students are international, and all of them, all 100% placements for the MBA graduates. And of course, we have international relations, under which we run centers, Center for Bay of Bengal Studies, Center for Conflict Resolution and Peace Studies, Common Archival Resource Center that I just spoke about a little earlier. AINU is envisioned, to build multicultural campuses for a multipolar world of 21st century and beyond. Because the campus there, we have our Honorable Minister greeting my students in the picture there. Dr. Singh has been very popular with all my students and faculty on his recent visit. It's a global campus with international footprint, with eclectic faculty from all over the world and students from over 30 countries. Vibrant and rigorous academic and intellectual environment. The potential for the institution is to showcase Asian knowledge systems and its role in building a peaceful world order, through building bridges. I think spirituality and cultural and civilizational bonds have been so strong that we can create a new world order of peace. And that's been the mainstay of AINU as well. And to emerge as a key player in creation of knowledge network via Act East policy. Possibly, we have a green campus. It's called Net Zero Campus on nearly 500 acres with 100 acres or 40 hectares of water bodies alone. It's a sustainable campus with triple net zero capabilities, energy, water, waste management with zero carbon footprint. Campus combines the state-of-the-art technologies with principles of ancient Nalanda. We have Vastu Shastra, we have geopathic stress zones, we have Ahar pine systems, and of course the solar farm that we have created recently. We'll talk about how we are energy, we keep with the energy goals of UN. 2018 January was when Honorable Prime Minister in the Asean-India Commemorative Summit announced a network of universities to build and strengthen between India and ASEAN. Nalanda was chosen as a nodal institution thereafter. Approval and sanction of the funding commenced in 22, and we are ready to launch. That is, the program will take off by the end of 22. So beginning new academic session in the second semester, the commencement of AINU, in major areas that we will focus on. Can we just move forward? We have engineering, science, technology, policy, lawmaking, trade and investment, blue economy, peace and security, cultural intersections, spirituality, sustainable development and humanities. These are some of the areas. If we move forward, we have the institutions from ASEAN who have agreed to be part of AINU. I request His Excellency Secretary General to help us in forging more linkages with ASEAN institutions. These are the list of institutions who have already given their consent. And from India, we have chosen institutions of national importance, such as IIT, IIIT, some top central universities, such as Tejpur University, which is known for its scientific development, and Energy Resource Terry University, and of course, Nalanda. The list is there for your reference. I think it's very important to look at what are the goals of AINU. So one, we thought that the consortium is envisaged in India and ASEAN premier institutions to contribute to building a core network of knowledge capital through strategic partnership among academic and research institutions. Two, this collaboration is to ensure capacity building and creation of regional thought leaders from Asia Pacific in the emerging multipolar world. And third goal is, the program, the network, is to invest in framing and strengthening the paradigms of knowledge production in order to engage with region-specific concerns when we look at India and the ASEAN. So historical and cultural linkages between ASEAN and India need more creative avenues of revival, such as AINU, and that is where I thank Government of India and AINU for coming together to promote linkages and collaborations. Let me thank our Honorable Prime Minister, Minister Jaishankarji, and Dr. Singh, His Excellency Secretary General ASEAN, and all the excellencies who are here from ASEAN states, and the dignitaries, and I request all of you to help evolve this new bond, new structure that will emerge and will look at the multipolar world and try and provide some solutions to the growing angst that we see in the world around through the knowledge route. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Madam.
If you have any questions or anything, I'm available so we can interact later. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. This was indeed an informative presentation. Besides Nalanda University, ASEAN University Network is another node in the Asean-India network of universities, bringing universities from ASEAN member states together. Dr. Koltis Thiratithi, Executive Director of the ASEAN University Network, has sent his congratulatory message. May I now request the IT team to play the video message.
His Excellency, Honorable Minister of State for External Affairs, India, Dr. Singh, His Excellency, Secretary General of ASEAN, Dato Lim Chok Hoi, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the ASEAN University Network, or the AUN, and on my own behalf, it gives me great pleasure to extend to you warmest congratulations upon the official launch of the Asean-India Network of Universities, and particularly on the initiation of the pilot program on faculty exchange. I'm delighted to see the interest from many participating universities from ASEAN to join this program with their counterpart institutions or universities in India. And I believe that this consortium of premier higher education institutions from India and ASEAN member states will pave the way forward to the fruitful collaboration in knowledge production with emphasis on matters of regional specific concern that are shared by both India and ASEAN. Let us ensure that our academic researchers and PhD students will have both a platform and cause to rejoice that their needed support will be arranged. This is what quality higher education and a spirit of cooperation are all about.
Thank you, Dr. Koltis, for your warm words. Secretary General of ASEAN, His Excellency Dato Lim Chok Hoi, has been the guiding force behind this launch event today. May I now have the honor to invite Honorable Secretary General to address the gathering.
His Excellency Dr. Kumar Rajan Singh, Minister of State for External Affairs and Education of India. Her Excellency Kok Lee Peng, the Permanent Representative of Singapore as a Country Coordinator, Chairman and members of the Committee of Permanent Representative, my colleagues, DSGs, His Excellency Ambassador Jaya Cobra Day, ambassadors to ASEAN, Professor Suna Singh, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, Dr. Chautis, Executive Director of ASEAN University Network, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and selamat pagi. I am pleased to welcome you all to the ASEAN Secretariat for this inauguration of the Asean-India Network University. as we celebrate 3 decades of productive and mutually beneficial relations between ASEAN and India this year. The launch of the network attests the ASEAN-India and also to India's keen interest to elevate its partnership with ASEAN and underscore the importance of strengthening people-to-people ties in our cooperation. Enhancing our people's linkages and mobility are critical in helping us address regional and global challenges and also appreciate the culture, history, and value of our relationships. I am pleased that the ASEAN-India Network Universities will provide a platform to our people to collaborate on research and innovation, the creation of new knowledge and capacity building of higher education stakeholders, including faculties and researchers from ASEAN and India. The network is expected to enable the free flow of ideas and exchanges among the higher education institutions from ASEAN and India. It will allow both sides to play a significant role in regional and global research in common areas of interest between, including engineering, science and technology, trade and investment, peace and security, intersection, the blue economy, as well as sustainable development. The network's focus on faculty exchange, doctoral student exchange, and joint PhD supervision and joint research will also enable exchange of skill, competency, and best practices between ASEAN and India. I'm confident that this will enhance the capacity of our students and researchers and equip them with necessary skill and competency required in the area of fourth industrial revolution and the changing world of work. Moreover, the network will not only contribute to the ASEAN Work Plan on Education 2021-2025, but also to various cross-sectoral initiatives, including Master Plan of ASEAN Connectivity 2025, the ASEAN Declaration of Human Resources Development for the Changing World of Work, as well as the ASEAN Digital Master Plan and ASEAN Plan for Action for Digital Agreements. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express our appreciation for India's continued support in providing scholarship for students from ASEAN pursuing PhDs, Masters, and postgraduate diploma at Nalanda University. We are also grateful to India for increasing the number of scholarship from 20 to 50 and even further than that in the future academic years 2022 and 2023. Excellencies, over the past 30 years, we have witnessed the deepening of ASEAN-India relations. The inauguration of the ASEAN-India Network of University will further enhance our collaboration and partnership in building a peaceful and sustainable region as well as global community. My congratulations on the launch of the ASEAN-India Network of University, and let us continue growing stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary General, for your insightful remarks. We are honored to have Honorable Minister of State for External Affairs and Education, Dr. Ranjan Singh among us. He brings experience of his long and impressive academic career and administrative acumen into foreign affairs and governance of education system of India. He has published 8 books and made numerous contributions to various national and international journals. May I now have the honor to invite Honorable Minister to address the gathering.
Secretary General of ASEAN, His Excellency Dato Lim Jok Hoi Ji, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, Professor Sunaina Singh Ji, Executive Director of ASEAN University Network, Dr. Soltis Dhira Thiti Ji, Excellencies and distinguished guests, I would like to begin by congratulating Nalanda University and ASEAN University Network for successfully collaborating to set up the Asean-India Network of University, or AINU. The AINU was announced by Prime Minister Modi during Asean-India Commemorative Summit in New Delhi, and I am very happy to inaugurate it today along with Secretary General of ASEAN. I am indeed grateful to the Nalanda University for its diligent effort to implement the vision of our Prime Minister. I am also grateful to ASEAN University Network for their stewardship of the process and give shape to this project. The the AINU is envisaged as a consortium of premier institutes from India and ASEAN that will build a core network of knowledge capital through strategic partnership among academic and research institutions in India and ASEAN member states. Such collective knowledge network with ASEAN becomes even more important as we prepare for a post-pandemic 21st century ready economic and developmental pathway where knowledge and education are central. 3 decades ago, in early 1990s, India took strategic course of enhancing its engagement towards the East, which has led to our flourishing cooperation with the ASEANs. Today, our cooperation has grown beyond its initial economic dimension to cover multiple facets, including connectivity in various forms, people-to-people ties, and more recently, strategic as well as defense and security aspects. The graduation of our Look East policy to Act East policy follows this growth pattern. Today, substantial portions of India's interests lies to the east of India, beyond the Indian Ocean and into the Pacific. The current economic and strategic realities make the separation of the Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean as distinct compartments less and less tenable. ASEAN is at the center of the Indo-Pacific region, both geographically and strategically. It is also just an important gateway in and out of the Indian Ocean, but also one of the most dynamic regions of the world. Today, with its own ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific, or AOIP, Our own vision for the Indo-Pacific built on India's Act East policy and Sagar doctrine. Sagar is an Indian word for ocean and is an acronym for security and growth for all in the region, which was articulated by our Prime Minister in Mauritius in 2015. To give concrete shape of India's vision of the Indo-Pacific, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji announced the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, or IPOI, at the 14th East India Summit in Bangkok in November 2019. The IPOI is a natural fit with AOIP, both in its principles and objectives. We are committed to implement the synergies between the IPOI and the ASEAN outlook to achieve a sustainable future in synchronization with the national goal of the EAS partners countries. This is reflected in the joint statement between ASEAN and India, which was adopted at the 18th ASEAN-Indian Summit in 2021. India envisages the ASEANs to be at the center of the Indo-Pacific, both literally and substantially. Our interaction with the ASEANs as a whole, as well as with individual ASEAN countries, have grown as a result of our Indo-Pacific vision. Our trade with the ASEAN country for the last financial years touched the all-the-time high to US $110 billion, which is 10% of our global trade. Both inflow and outflow of overseas direct investment between India and ASEAN countries also stand at around 20% of the total. Review of ASEAN-India trade in goods agreement remains high on our agenda to enhance our bilateral trade relations. ASEAN has been a popular destination for the Indian tourists, and it hosts a strong Indian diaspora. On strategic level, as well as we are intensifying our cooperation in the area of defense, maritime security, cyber security, and traditional transnational crime. Efforts are being made to increase connectivity with the region through air and maritime link and across land borders. Event like artist camp, music festival, youth summit, and hackathon regularly dot our annual calendar to promote linkages among the youths. ASEAN-India partnership is built on a foundation of shared value, the most fundamental of which is the priority our civilization attaches to education. Our partnership with the nations of Southeast Asia has historically developed through a shared quest of knowledge. Even trade and political ties have followed the pathway and sea routes created by monks, saints, and scholars. So, it is only natural that in the modern age as well, knowledge, remain the fundamental driver of people-to-people ties. This is also the underlying logic in offering scholarship to students from Asian member states in the Premium Institutes of India, including 1,000 PhD fellowship at IITs. We have welcomed students from our Southeast Asian neighborhood to transform the world by doing research on cutting-edge area. It helps the next generations of all the 10 Asian partners and their Indian counterparts develop new bond of friendship. As a producers and incubator of knowledge and knowledge system, India has always been open to sharing its learning with the world. India is fairly unique in being host to tens of thousands of international students, as well as sending out tens of thousands of students abroad. This two-way process and exchange of young students, scholars, academics, and talent will continue and in fact intensify in the years ahead. We welcome it as such exchanges are fundamental to international understanding and to a globalized economy. Indian National Education Policy, launched in 2020, is our endeavors towards facilitating this process. It aims at welcoming foreign students by providing premium education and affordable costs. It provides greater avenue for international universities to explore partnership with Indian university to set up teaching, learning, and research programs through micro-hub at Indian university campus. Creative form of collaborations through dual degree programs and online degrees and credits will further facilitate opportunities for foreign university in India without having to necessarily go down the campus route. India's national education policy addresses the needs and realities of the fourth industrial revolution as well as emerging post-pandemic scenario. As we have all seen and experienced through the past 2 years, digital tools and systems are an immense force multiplier and can help us make up to the degree possible for the absence of physical meeting and capacities. When combined with the emerging trend of interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary curricula and degree programs, huge potential exists for inter-country and cross-continental collaborations. The best university of this century will not be the ones with oldest history and the tallest buildings, but the one with the most diverse, innovative, and global partnership, rather than setting up a greenfield facility for a related or even innovatively aligned subject disciplines or aligned sub-disciplines. A university or a technical institutions may find it useful to partner with another universities. The appropriate partner could be in the next district in a neighboring country or even another continent. Such educational partnership envisages cooperation through several initiatives, including exchange of faculty and students, scholars and researchers, sharing of information and publication, organizing joint seminar, workshop, conferences, working towards mutual recognitions of qualifications, developing institutional linkages. The Asean-Indian network of universities takes its first step with exchange of faculty, and I hope that it expands further to include additional aspects of Asean-India educational cooperation to establish focus and effective partnership. It is befitting that AINU is anchored in Nalanda University, which was endorsed at the third East Asian Summit in January 2007 in Manila. The university draws inspirations from its illustrious historical processes. Nalanda Mahabharata, the Nalanda Mahabharata serve as the conduit of Indians' intellectual connections with the larger Asia, drawing students and scholars from East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Central Asia. The Nalanda University aims to re-establish these linkages for the emergence of Asia as the knowledge hub of 21st century. I am confident that the Asean-India network of universities will expand the frontier of learning, scholarship, and knowledge for the good of our society and our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the words of wisdom. May I request Honorable Minister if lighting a lamp is a popular way to begin an auspicious activity in India, the beating of gong is as auspicious in ASEAN. The launch event thus symbolizes appreciation of each other's culture. May I now request Honorable Minister of State and Honorable Secretary General of ASEAN to come on the stage to launch the Asean-India network of universities by joint beating of gong. It will symbolize the beginning of the program. On the count of three, may I request dignitaries to beat the gong 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 3 times. 2 more times. A big round of applause, please. Thank you, Excellencies. May I now invite the Ambassador of India to ASEAN to deliver vote of thanks.
Ambassador should get only one opportunity to go onto the stage. Yeah. So, As we approach to the conclusion of the launching of the Asean-India network of universities, I have the pleasant duty of presenting vote of thanks. Honorable Minister, thank you very much for taking time from your busy schedule to visit Jakarta for the launch. I would also like to thank you, sir, for your informative remarks full of wisdom. Secretary General of ASEAN, Your Excellency Dato Lim Jokhoi, my deep gratitude for your support and guidance and for making this ceremony such a grand success. I would like to thank Deputy Secretary Generals for their kind participation and DSG Ekapab for his support to the project. I would also like to thank the Committee of Permanent Representatives to ASEAN for their gracious presence and continuous special country coordinator, Ambassador Ko Klipeng, for her thoughtful advice on all matters in of Nalanda University, Professor Sunaina Singh, and the Executive Director of ASEAN University Network, Dr. Koltis Dhiratiti. I would also like to thank all the participating universities in today's function. Further, this event could not have been possible without the support from the ASEAN Secretariat, External Relations Division, Protocol, and technical support team. Also thankful to CineArt for their contribution. My special thanks to all participants and friends from media for your presence at this event, and we would like to see a good comprehensive write-up so that the program reaches out to as many interested stakeholders as possible. Several institutions and individuals have been involved from conceptualizing the idea of the academic network to making it a reality. I convey my deep gratitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We have a small token of presentation for Honorable Secretary General of ASEAN and Honorable Minister of State from Nalanda University. Professor Sunaina Singh, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, would like to present this token of presentation. May I invite both sirs, Honorable Secretary General and Honorable Minister of State on the stage. Thank you, ma'am. May I request Excellencies to stay on the stage, please? May I have now a family photo? I request Committee of Permanent Representative of ASEAN to be on the stage. This concludes the event. Special invitees are requested to proceed towards the Papua room on the first floor through North Gate. Other participants are requested to collect refreshments at the South Gate. Dhanyavad. Thank you. Tarima Kasi.